Ronnie James Dio's first two solo albums, which were Holy Diver and The Last in Line, were instant classics that cemented his place as one of metal's greatest voices. But in 1985, Dio released Sacred Heart. This is an album that divided fans. It had some great moments, also some signs that the cracks were starting to show. That was a pretty cheap effect, but could Dio keep up the momentum? That's what I want to talk about today in this video. I'm going to give you some background on the album, go track by track, and tell you what went wrong and what went right with Sacred Heart. This was Dio's third studio album, released on August 15th, 1985, through Warner Brothers in the US and Vertigo in Europe. The lineup was still the same powerhouse band: Vivian Campbell on guitar, Jimmy Bain on bass, Vinny Appice on drums, and of course, Ronnie James Dio on vocals. But this would be the last album with Campbell. Some fans feel you would hear the tension in the music. The sound leaned more towards polished, radio-friendly production compared to the heavier, darker edge of the first two albums. You can also feel a little more of that mid-80s commercial metal influence creeping in. Lyrically, Dio stayed in his trademark fantasy realm, dragons, magic, and heroism, but there were also a few songs with more straightforward rock themes. The album spawned three singles: Rock and Roll Children, Hungry for Heaven, and the title track, Sacred Heart. The band also embarked on their most elaborate tour yet, featuring a massive animatronic dragon on stage. While it was visually impressive, some critics said it was a sign Dio was focusing more on spectacle than songwriting. All right, let's go through the songs. I'll tell you my thoughts on each one. The album opens with King of Rock and Roll, and I have to say, it's a great album opener. It's fast, energetic. Sounds like something you would hear at the end of a Dio concert. The live crowd noise intro gives it a cool atmosphere, and Vivian Campbell's guitar work is very good. Honestly, one of my favorites here. Then we get to the title track, Sacred Heart. This one slows things down with a mid-tempo, epic feel. Lyrics are classic Dio, full of magical imagery, and the chorus is catchy. I like the atmosphere here, but I will admit it doesn't hit quite as hard as some of the title tracks from the other albums, but still, it's a solid track. Another Lie comes next. This is where you start to feel the more commercial, polished production. It's catchy, but maybe a little too safe compared to the raw energy of Holy Diver. That said, it has a great chorus and one of those songs that sticks in your head after a few listens. After that, we have Rock and Roll Children, probably the most radio-friendly track in the album. This was a single. It's easy to see why. It's catchy. It has a big sing-along chorus, and the story-driven lyrics are fun. But this is also where some fans started saying Dio was getting a little bit too like MTV metal for their taste. But personally, I still enjoy it for what it is. Next up is Hungry for Heaven. This was featured on the soundtrack for the movie Vision Quest. It's another upbeat pop metal style track. It's fun. Definitely the most like 80s rock sounding Dio song had put up to the point. But I see why some fans felt it was a step too far into a commercial territory. Sixth track, Like the Beat of a Heart. One of the more underrated songs here. It has a darker, moodier vibe, some cool guitar work from Vivian Campbell. I think the song feels closest to the Dio of the first two albums. After that comes Just Another Day. This one's okay, not particularly memorable. It has all the right Dio elements, but something about it feels a little by the numbers. But on a positive note, I like the guitar riff in the song's intro. I just like the chugging of the intro. Then we have Fallen Angels. It picks up the pace again. I like it a lot. The riffs are great, the chorus is strong, and it has that classic Dio sense of drama. Finally, the album closes with Shoot Shoot. I'll be honest, this is probably my least favorite track here. It's very straightforward, almost like Dio trying to write an AC/DC style rocker. It just doesn't quite fit the rest of the album's tone. Now in part 3, I want to talk about some of the problems with this album and then what he got right. First, the negatives. The biggest issue is the songwriting isn't as strong or consistent as the first two albums. There's a noticeable shift towards the more commercial sounding tracks, which alienated some fans who wanted the heavier, darker Dio sound. The production is very polished, maybe too polished, and at times it feels like it smooths over the raw power. That made Holy Diver and Last in Line really great albums. Also, some of the lyrics feel a little recycled, like Dio is dipping into the same bag of mystical phrases without adding anything much new. And of course, the tensions between Dio and Vivian Campbell were growing, which may have impacted the creative energy. Now for the positives, there's still some great songs on here. King of Rock and Roll, Sacred Heart, Like the Beat of a Heart, Fallen Angels, all worthy of great songs in Dio's catalog. Ronnie's voice is still in peak form. Vivian Campbell's guitar work is excellent throughout. The album also gave us one of Dio's most legendary tours with the over-the-top stage show that fans still talk about today. And while some people knock the more commercial tracks, they did help introduce Dio to a wider audience in the mid-'80s. So in conclusion, Sacred Heart is not on the same level as Holy Diver or Last in Line, but far from a bad album. It's got some great moments, a few weaker ones, and it shows Dio trying to balance his signature style with the more commercial hard rock trends of the time. For me, it's an album. I revisit it every now and then. I like to pop it on. But for me, it's an album. It's good. That's all I have to say about it. It basically shows off Ronnie's voice. And I think his voice has always been great. So that's what I want to say. If you want to see what Dio was doing before this album, check out my review of Last in Line. I'll stick that right there. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next one.